Hello, assalamu alaikum everybody. Hope you're all safe, sound, and healthy. And I'm back because this is something I really need to talk about. This is the 16th of March today, 17th, sorry. Today's the 17th of March. And that means that this is the seventh Ramzan today. Um, and, well, the reason why I am obliged to pick up the mic and talk amidst all these background noises of people doing renovation work and people doing their laundry and stuff, which hopefully you wouldn't get to hear, is because, I'm really getting fed up. I'm getting very fed up of this question, of this, not this question, but more this attitude of people when they realize something too late, and then because they have suddenly realized it, they think that, oh, they're the only ones who know about it, and then they start pushing those ideas and realizations onto others. If you remember, this is something that I talked about regarding Imran Khan as well, that it took people 20 bloody years to get what the man was saying. I knew immediately what he was saying, but it took people 20 bloody years in this country to understand what he's saying. And that's 20 years too late. Imran Khan is a forever positive man. I know because I used to be a forever positive person and I've ditched that illusion of positivity. But let me tell you one thing, despite his positivity, even he knows, I'm sure, that it is 20 years too late for the people to understand what it is that the man was trying to say. Because in those 20 years, a lot could have been done, a lot could have been accomplished. But the people, lazy bums that they are, useless, absolute useless, lazy bums that they are, they just let they decided, oh, let him do whatever he needs to do, and we'll just be there to eat all the food once he's laid the table out, because that's the kind of people that we have here. And thanks to that attitude, it took them 20 years. And what 20 years? It's actually, again, my generation that suddenly decided to just take everything into our hands, and we're the ones that pushed ahead for him. But the previous generation wasted those 20 precious years, okay, with their cowardice, their laziness, their stupidity, their, quackism, because really, I have not seen the amount of quacks in my entire life that I've seen in that generation alone. The pseudo intellectuals and the so called senior analysts. Everybody's a senior analyst, and everybody's a PhD holder, and everybody's an intellectual, and everybody's a scientist, and everybody's a thinker, and everybody's a philosopher in Pakistan. It's amazing. I mean, it makes you wonder why this country never did jack shit, isn't it? Well, yeah, I am fasting, and I'm making sure not to use abusive words. Thank you very much. I do not consider jack shit abusive. I think it's the most neutral word I can ever use. Well, so let's move on. So, as I was saying, it takes people decades to understand what somebody is doing or trying to do, be it good or be it bad. In Imran Khan's case, it was something good. It took people 20 years to, take the reins into their hands and ensure that the man actually rose to power. Which obviously then, America didn't like, the Brits didn't like. So down he had to go. And it took my parents 23 years to realize why it was very important for me to leave this country, and why I actually, that all that I saw, the future that I saw in this country, which is practically zero, and I'm being very kind here, uh, it's happening right now. Whatever it is that I instinctively saw, it's happening right now. The problem with people like us who live far beyond our time is that we are surrounded by morons. Okay, I'm just going to be very blunt today because I've really had it. We're surrounded by morons. And that means that people who think they know everything, but they don't know anything. They have no foresight, they have no farsight. And they think that they know everything. They think that because of their, if nothing else, if everything else fails, they bring their age and their experience. Let me tell you one thing. I can personally assure you, age has nothing to do with experience. In fact, nowadays it has nothing at all to do with experience, because the younger you are, the more experienced you still can be. You have so much more experience regarding current trends that people like me would not have. Similarly, at a younger age, the experiences and the knowledge that I acquired, my parents would have acquired it when they were double my age, twice my age. So, experience has nothing to do with age. Okay, it has to do with the kind of life you're living and the things you've gone through, and it has a lot to do with learning process. If you refuse to learn from your experiences, then you're not at all experienced. And I do believe that a majority of the people refuse to learn from their experiences, which is why even when they're 80, they're as stupid as they were when they were 4. Okay, because they haven't learned anything from their experiences. And this is where, again, I would try to explain, because this is a question that now, because people again realized what I was trying to do and how painful it was for me to leave my life, leave my career, leave my future and everything, ditch everything, while I was being emotionally blackmailed to come back to this country. And now, if those same people who that time were taking my family's side, now they're suddenly saying, oh, it was your mistake. Oh, it was, you were wrong. You shouldn't have listened to them. You should have been. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. Wasn't it like just 13, 14 years ago, until 13, 14 years ago, you were the same guys who were sitting and saying that, oh, no, it's up to God. Oh, and that time I used to tell you it's not up to God. God has given us a brain and we're supposed to use it. So now those same people are saying, oh no, God has given a brain and we're supposed to use it. Right. It took you people 15 years to understand what I was saying then. Amazing. And it took you people 23 years to understand why it was so important for me to leave this country and make my life, and why it was so painful for me to leave everything and when I was being made to return here. And now, because it suddenly hit you, because, oh, wait, hold on. Is this hypocrisy I'm smelling here? Because suddenly your kids are now of that age, at the age I was then, when all of you got together, banded together, and suppressed me. Now your kids are at that age, and because you've realized what I said 20 years ago, so now your kids are free to go abroad and free to make their lives and do whatever they want. So now you suddenly have realized that you have my interest in your heart, while you're coming in now pushing for me to go abroad. Well, let me tell you one thing. You've again made a stupid mistake. And here's how. Your kids have chosen the worst time to go abroad. Because right now, it's not just Pakistan that's falling apart. Right now, the whole world is falling apart. There is no single country right now that is better off than Pakistan. If anything, for the first time in history, the rest of the world and Pakistan are literally neck and neck. They're exactly in the same situation, in the same condition. Okay? All those countries that are involved and part of the geopolitics, they all right now have similar fates to Pakistan, including the self claimed developed nations like America and Europe. And I'm sorry to say, even Korea. Korea might be seemingly faring better off, but they have had their share of crisis for as long as Pakistan. Again, it's simply because of the influence of America and the domination of America. And this will continue to go on with all the post colonial lands, all the post colonial nations. But the colonizers themselves are collapsing. America is literally collapsing. In fact, America has all but collapsed. Okay, the artificial value of the dollar that they're maintaining, you know, through countries like ours, deliberately manipulating the dollar rates, just so that they can barely survive. Similarly, Europe is literally out and gone. It's all but buried 6 feet under. And the Middle East is still faring much, much better. It always fared much better. But the Middle East, because they have now gotten so involved with America, Europe, and Israel, so the Middle East is collapsing as well. So, yes, you will see all those countries that were supposed to be great places where you could go and build your life and make opportunities, avail opportunities, and even make opportunities. Yes, why not? All those countries are falling apart as well. There are no real opportunities now. There is no real future now. So, yeah, right now, just like how 23 years ago, the biggest stupidity that I said to everybody, that the biggest stupidity that you will be doing, even 15 years ago, was to leave everything and come here to this place. Now I'm going to tell you that the biggest stupidity that you're ever going to do is leaving wherever you are and going to another place. Because once there's a place where you've settled. When you've settled at a place, it is in any way a stupid thing to leave that place and go somewhere else. That is just plain stupidity and greed, especially if you don't have a plan. If you have a plan, then that's something else. If you have a plan of expansion, or if you actually see something in the future, that's something else. But just upping and going, no, that's always a stupid idea when you've finally settled at a place. Again, unless there's something concrete that you can avail. But right now, there is nothing concrete to avail in any of these countries. And these countries are poising for war, okay? And they're spoiling for war too. These countries have spent a century to create this war. So there is no way in hell that they're going to allow anybody to stop them from waging these wars. So this war is going to happen. The reason they're not stepping back from Gaza is the same thing I've said over and over again, and the reason why they've intensified the exact same, you know, they've intensified their atrocities in Kashmir in the exact same way as they have done it in Palestine, and the same reason why they are, committed to committing genocide all over the world is to regain control. Okay, they know that if the Muslims are united, they can never gain control. This is why it has always been divide and rule and divide and conquer throughout. And, but putting all of that aside, again, this I'm just summarizing everything. These are things I've talked extensively about in all my previous podcasts, but just summarizing it all to remind you again why every country right now is poised for war. They're going towards war, and it will be the biggest stupidity now to advise anybody to leave wherever it is they are and to go, to another country only to be in a worse state. So, yeah. Again, I would repeat, unless you have concrete opportunities, unless there is actually something out there waiting for you, unless you actually have a plan that you know that you can go down, a certain road, yes, by all means, that's fine. But if you're just going to now blindly leave thinking, oh, I gotta leave here because there's nothing here, I'm sorry, but there's nothing there either. Even if there is right now, whatever it is, it will just diminish within the next 5 years. So if you're thinking long term, then not a good idea if you're blindly going like that for a long term purpose. Okay, so that is my answer as to why it is that now that you've woken up from your slumber, from your eternal stupidity, worth of a little over 2 decades, and then now you're suddenly thinking that you're the only one who's aware of this, and now you want to push me into making another stupid mistake. Yeah, I already went against my own principles, my own decisions, my own plans for my family. But I'm damned if the stupid strangers around me are now going to come to me and keep on egging me to go back abroad. That I owe, because now, after 23 years, they've realized that indeed that was a very bad thing that was done to me, and that was a huge loss that I faced of not being allowed to build my world, to build my life, to build my career. Yeah. Just because you've woken up from your slumber of stupidity after 2 decades, it doesn't mean that you have actually gained insight. If anything, it should be a point of reflection, a point of self reflection of how stupid you've been. And in fact, it should now be something that you need to question yourselves, that it took you 20 years to realize one tiny very tiny thing, very, very important, but very tiny detail in life, doesn't that mean that you're still 20 years behind regarding another tiny detail in life? That is actually what you need to be thinking. The people of Pakistan also, they think that they've woken up after 20 years and oh, they're all with Imran Khan and all, but haven't you just realized how you are so late already? And how now, no matter what you do, things could just not get right. It's just like how I told, whenever people were always trying to discuss with me about how Imran Khan would come and change Pakistan, and I told them, I'm like, listen, you brought the man 20 years too late. Now the rot is so set that he wouldn't forget about anybody letting him do what he wants to do, which obviously nobody's going to let him do what he wants to do because the rot is deeply set. But even if he wants to and begins to make changes, it will take the next 50 years. And he does not have 50 years. He has 5 years maximum. And in those 5 years, even if he manages to just, push start something, just jump start something, who's to guarantee that 5 years later, whoever comes after him will not reverse everything back? Because that is what we have always seen done. Every government that comes reverses whatever it is that the previous government did. And that's exactly what happened. They did not even let him complete his 5 years because, America had a huge problem because Imran Khan was uniting the whole world back together. He was, telling them what's what. He was opening people's eyes, you know, and he was very openly talking about what's going on where. And he was talking about human rights and he was talking about actual global world peace, you know, in the true sense of it. So, yes, he was a pebble, he was a stone in America's path. So, an obstacle. So, you need to understand that that is why I keep on and on going on about how every decision has a consequence and there is a time and a place for everything. You cannot keep on with this stupid cliche attitude, especially when you don't even understand where this cliche comes from and what the reference to context is behind this cliche, that you can start life at any age. You can only start life at any age if there is a life left to start. Okay? For that, you need a whole environment, you need a society, you need a place where you can actually do it. But if you're living in a society where you are forced to be dependent on, on family and then on society and then on culture and then your government comes into the mix and it makes things impossible then I'm sorry, then it is sheer stupidity to tell somebody, oh, you know what, you can always start life again. Oh, you know what, there's an age, it doesn't matter what age you are. I've seen many people start. You haven't seen anybody start over. The people you're talking about, they live in those countries where starting over again is something that is accessible. It is something that is environmentally, feasible. But tell me one person who started over at any age in countries like ours, and I'll tell you one thing: those are those who went down the wrong path. Nobody gets rich overnight. If somebody's getting rich overnight, then he is definitely down the wrong path. And this is 100% guaranteed. There's no question there, no debate there. Okay? You can't argue with me on that. It is a fact. Nobody, especially in today's life, in today's environment, in today's society, nobody can get rich with their hard work or overnight. It's through shortcuts, it's through bribes, it's through connections, it's through corruption, and it's through dishonesty. That is the only way people are getting into money. In fact, that is why, and that is how black money became the norm in countries like ours, especially in Pakistan. Sardari legalized corruption. He legalized black money. And that is the time when black money became so common, right? And then Nawaz Sharif, obviously, he is all about black money. So, but actually, literally legalizing black money, this is something that Sardari did. And this is why Pakistan is filled with people who suddenly became rich overnight. And they are all It's all black money. So don't give me that. Okay. It's very easy to earn black money, actually. It's very, very easy. It's not hard. You know what's hard? What's hard is to actually stay on the right path and to try to earn through the right way. And that is why people don't do it, because it's very hard. So, what I'm trying to say is that when you suddenly realize something, please don't think that you're the only ones who have thought about it or you're the only ones who've realized it. In fact, if anything, it should make you ask yourselves, it took you this long to realize something. How many more things are there that you still haven't realized? If anything, you should go digging. Go digging for other things that you might not have realized. Because the biggest mistake that people do when they realize something too late is then they suddenly start pushing those ideas towards others, forgetting that the other person may have already thought of that, done that, dusted that, gone away from that, Especially if that person is somebody who has already hinted this realization to you a decade ago, or 2 decades ago, or 3 decades ago, or even 5 years ago. If you're only now understanding it, when it's only now it's dawning upon you, then understand that something else that hasn't yet dawned upon you has already dawned upon that person now. And it will take you, again, the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years to realize that. If anything, it should make you understand and realize how slow people are to understand some of the most obvious and basic things in life. So don't go pushing yourselves towards others and don't go pushing your ideas towards others. Please use your brains. Let's just all use our common sense. Okay? What could have been beneficial or what could have been a good idea 20 years ago is not necessarily a good idea as 20 years later. Similarly, what was a bad idea 20 years ago might not be a bad idea 20 years later. That is the real essence of adaptation, understanding, and realization, and moving forward. You cannot push your redundant ideas onto somebody who is already way ahead of you in any case. And even if that person is not ahead of you, that person may have already grasped something, you know. So, a nation, I would just say one thing, that my thoughts on a nation that needed 20 years to understand something, some very basic facts that Imran Khan was trying to deliver. And it took this nation 20 years to take control and to ensure that he is given a chance to deliver. What can you expect from this nation? Do you honestly expect this nation to still to actually be now ahead and current with times? I think that if anything, it makes me more worried and concerned as regards to what more is this nation unaware of at this point, and what will it take to make them realize again what mistakes they're making right now. That's all. So this is me signing out. Before I sign out, let me repeat again a conclusion of this whole thing. It would be the highest order of stupidity right now to leave Pakistan without any plans, blindly going abroad, thinking that things are there are going to be more opportunities and life is going to be better abroad. Because right now, believe it or not, Pakistan and those countries are in the same situation right now. Very, very literally the same situation. They're imploding, Pakistan's imploding. They're collapsing, Pakistan's collapsing. Economic crisis, social crisis, job crisis, recession, inflation. Okay? I hope this helps. And this is me signing out. Khuda Hafiz.